Alright, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, we are live in full effect right here, right now with the one, the only, Graffiti's own, we already know, we got Pengame Classic right here on the line. How are you doing this evening?
What's up with you, man? Thanks for having me on. Category Other.
Oh man, I gotta say, man, you are most certainly welcome. It's good to have you here on the Canadian airwaves. I have to ask you, man, how's everything on your end, man? Like, just right now, man, because right now it seems like COVID is still taking over the world, man. It's crazy.
It's all over the place, and a little bit more than what we like to see. But for me, the work goes on. Definitely going to put out new work for you guys here in the next month or so. Album called Mellow Aphrodite that has productions on it from Mellow Mystic Music. Couple features on there, but definitely not slowing down one bit as far as the workload is concerned.
And I have to ask you there, Pengame, like taking you back to the beginning of your musical career, like what actually inspired you to get into the music industry?
Just wanting to, I guess, just be the next tier of what I grew up as considered the greats. Like the good artists from the golden era, and just what I could contribute to that. And a lot of that has to do with family. I come from a very musically inclined family. Couldn't get away from music if you wanted to, because somebody was always dancing or singing or creating their own song or just things of that nature. So just seeing my family's love for music and always being around it from the very beginning. Being from Michigan, you got the Motowns and Jackson Fives, and then being a kid, I was attracted to that. First and foremost, and then it just gravitates from there as you get into hip hop and so on and so on. Just really being influenced as a kid to produce and make music.
And the one thing I have to ask you, for the individuals that don't know the culture as well as we do, man, like what is the definition of graffiti hip hop? Because that's the genre you are. Like, what's the difference between graffiti hip hop and just your normal everyday hip hop?
Well, you got to create an image that is forever lasting, and it has to be classic. It has to resonate with if you were to make a mold of anything but relating to music, you got to follow a mold in order to come out with that particular product. And that is the type of mold that is associated with that type of hip-hop. It has a certain sound. The artist has, a certain level of expectations, whether it's lyrics, whether it's, just delivery. That whole style and that particular genre is what represents graffiti rap in whole.
And the one thing as well that I noticed is that actually in the early 2000s you began making serious moves when you actually opened up for DJ Quick and Corrupt of the Dog Pound in Scottsdale, Arizona. I was wondering, how did that like concert come to be for you, man? And of course, what was that experience like being able to open up for some of West Coast's finest hip hop artists?
Yeah, legends, man. Legends, and definitely like to shoot those guys out because, I always grew up listening to those guys, and it was an honor to, share a performance with those guys. Well, I'd like to give a shout out to the artist Hannibal Leck out of Arizona, my guy Ash, and, these guys were, we were sitting back contemplating. We were sitting back, and now this is where the underground artists, can really work if they got strength in numbers, because I had a buzz going on. I had a huge buzz going on, and I was new to an area, and the artists that I had linked up with, my name was getting out so fast with the music that I was doing and my Phoenix New Sun mixtapes that, these artists were, looking like, hey, we got an opportunity to keep this momentum going, and hey, Leck is, has a spot over here with this show, and we're going to get on as, a segment of that spot. Asked me if I was willing to do it. Me and Ash got up there. Some of this performance is actually still on my YouTube. I might want to send that to you. We got up there. We blessed it. We did about 2 or 3 tracks. And it was just the experience was very 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 fulfilling. I had my boys out there from Cali. You know, shout out to Vo. Shout out to Ebo. They were out there representing in the crowd, and it was a good night, man. It was a very very monumental night for us, and definitely for myself. I will never look at that experience and underrate anything from getting dressed to taking my clothes off to going to bed that night.
And I have to ask you as well, did you have the opportunity to actually like meet and chop it up with DJ Quick and Corrupt?
No, I didn't. I didn't actually get a chance to meet and chop it up with him. Instead, I was getting I was getting blessed, man, by one of the OGs that took the stage that night, who's no longer with us, and that is the homie Big Psych. Big Psych, for those that don't know, was featured with Tupac on the "Picture Me Rolling" song. Actually, you know, we chopped it up, and I think Quick and I might have even been running late that particular night. And you know, we were just backstage, and you know, whoever was backstage at the time before we left, we got a chance to meet and chop it up. But he was definitely giving me, you know, good insights. We shared a lot of things, you know, stories and, you know, just things that I wanted to know about, you know, his experience coming up. You know, of course, we talked about Tupac, and he just was, you know, leading me with a lot of game and knowledge, and I definitely cherish that moment since the brother's no longer here.
And I gotta say, man, it's absolutely phenomenal that you had the opportunity to actually chop it up with one of the members of Thug Life and the Outlaws as well.
Yeah, without a doubt. And it's being a part of that tree. You know, being a part of that tree, soaking up any knowledge that these guys have. You know, growing up being inspired by these guys, man, and then to be able to meet some of them and to hear what they got to say, and then even about you, you know, when they get a chance to see you perform and hear your songs, and they're able to look at you and tell you, hey, man, you're going in the right direction, you know, things like that. It was major, man.
And also, you actually have a mixtape out that really caught my eye. It almost reminded me of Back to the Future a little bit. It's actually titled Back to the Past. I was wondering if you can tell our listeners a bit more about that mixtape, and of course, where can they check it out? And also, since I brought it up, is it actually inspired by Steven Spielberg's hit trilogy?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely inspired by hit trilogy. Is one of my favorite trilogies of all time. What I wanted to do with that is I use it as an exercise, you know, because during the times where I think the first one that I started was about 2000 and I think 11 or 12, no, it was 2013 when I did Back to the Past. And, you know, it was just a lot, you know, when you sit back as an artist sometimes and the mainstream is just flooding you with, you know, what they consider is the next wave or the next movement, you got to be inspired by something. And when you're an artist like myself, you know, it's not a lot of music, a lot of music that's out at that particular time that is the essence. So what I did during that time is I just made sure I use it as a tune-up. I, you know, jumped on the old school beats, did entire mixtapes with the collection of some of my favorites. So it's a lot more than just jumping on beats. Some of those are like my favorite tracks. So I made sure that, you know, I blessed them. I wasn't going to pick a beat and then just halfway through it because it was one of my all-time favorites. So that made me even go harder on those particular tracks. And, you know, that was just used as like an exercise, just keep, you know, to stay fine-tuned throughout the years of, you know, the eras, different music eras that we went through. And that era for me was, you know, was less appealing, less inspiring. So that was a way to kind of keep me sharp, keep me motivated, and that's exactly what I used it for. Those tapes can be found on PengameClassic.com. You just search the menu, and
And also, stepping away from the music side of things for a minute, I also noticed as well, excuse me, sorry, that you actually teamed up with branding company Wealth Nation. I was wondering if you can tell us a bit more about that, and of course, how did yourself and Wealth Nation actually get connected?
I got reached out by one of their A&Rs, Leanna. She reached out to me. We had almost a 3-hour conversation, man, off the muscle. We talked for 3 hours about everything but music. So, person, a real person, and she looked at me as a real person, and we connected like that. And then at the very end, we started strategizing on what we're going to do musically, and I became a part of that family. I accepted them as somebody that I want to represent me and do business for me in the future as a consultant and management company that they are. They are one of the best in the business, and that's what I wanted to choose to further my brand in particular.
And I have to ask you as well, how can our listeners actually check out Wealth Nation if they actually want to get more involved and also want to learn more about it?
What you want to do is Wealth Nation. They got Instagram pages. They have a website, which is something I should definitely give you guys to lead you directly to it if there's something that you guys are interested listening and want to tune into. But on Instagram, they're number 1, Wealth Nation, and then their page is www.1wealthnation.com.
And also, November 13th, 2020, you actually released the album Graffiti Rap. I was wondering, what's the inspiration behind that phenomenal record? And of course, where can our listeners buy or stream themselves a copy today?
That the shutdown. I knew there wasn't going to be any recording or anything going on, so what I did was purchase the home studio, and I know I did a 30-day challenge, kind of for myself, to just break my studio in, and I was still working during the shutdown, so doing this challenge, still working, and then coming home, it just kind of just built up momentum. Producers were sending me beats, and I just started going. I was doing some instrumentals and some beats, and all of a sudden, by the end of that 30 days, and this is on my Instagram story, I'm not taking it off just because of the significance behind it. Those 30 days, 2 albums, Mellow Aphrodite, and then Graffiti Rap. All of Graffiti Rap was in there, and then some of Mellow Aphrodite was in there as well. But by the end of that, Graffiti Rap was done. Me and Justin put together, a phenomenal project. So I wanted to make sure it got its just due, put it out. Definitely got help from Samantha for doing the promo on that, and we pushed that project from November 13th till now, and we are sitting at over 110,000 streams combined, and that can also be found on www.pengameclassic.com, and it's on every streaming platform: YouTube, Spotify, of course, Apple Music, Amazon, everything out there. It's on there. Pandora, wherever people are listening to music at, it's on there.
And I have to ask as well, do you have any hard copies for our old school listeners that really do still love that compact disc format?
Yeah, they'll be coming in here in another few weeks. The hard copies will be available, and they will be available on PengameClassic.com. If those that are really, paying attention and following me, I will be having updates like I have on the merchandise that are also being sold on there, and I will give my listeners and followers the info when the hard copies come in, and they'll be ready to go too.
And also as well, I have to ask you, what is next for you, Pengame? Is there anything I missed during this interview? Anything else you still want to talk about or promote while we still have you here live on the Canadian airwaves?
Just continuing to build a brand, continuing to get listeners from all over, overseas, just built up future, not music related, business ventures to add to the brand as well. Got a lot of people that I know that are involved in, edibles and, just whatever they bring to the table, I'm going to be a part of it in an investment way. And then continuing to put out those family members of mine that are still doing music and, need a platform. And then definitely this movement with artist support, with Samantha, helping her in any way, shape, form that I can for the great work that she's done for me, returning the favor on that end. And any success that I get, I will be using that to help, streamline that platform and definitely to keep more music coming. In the meantime, definitely want to rack up the plaques, get the streams in. There will be business ventures with labels. I'm not knowing so far as, being signed. Maybe there'll be some partnership deals down the line that's more realistic. But we're definitely going to be doing some major business in the months coming up to Stronghold 2021 and 2022. So there's big things happening.
And also, Pengame, this is the time in the interview that I give a chance for the individual that slides into the radio station airwaves, just a chance to give shoutouts to whomever they want to give shoutouts to, and of course your social media handles. That way our listeners can stay updated on all your newest projects and everything Pengame Classic if they're not already doing so.
Yeah, of course. Definitely shout out to, the one and only Category Other, Wealth Nation, Certified Nation, to Samantha, Miraculous. Who else we got? We got, I already said Bo, but big shout out to Bo. And MTC Empire. Like to give a shout out to Adair, Q Murray, my man Sean. Long list, man. Everybody in JC, Manhattan, Kansas. Definitely Muskegon, Michigan in the house. Louisville, Kentucky. Can't forget everybody in Florida that's showing support. Texas, definitely Arizona, Phoenix, big up, much love. Everybody in Atlanta, Georgia, holding it down, and definitely Canada, man. Got to give big shouts out to Canada. A lot of artists that I've met over the years from out there, and yourself definitely deserve that love. So big shouts out to Canada. And if I forgot anybody, I'm sorry. It's just a long list of people, but I love y'all and thank you for the support. And social media handles, Pengame Classic, IG, Twitter, but most importantly, www.pengameclassic.com. Social medias, YouTube, are all on that website. So it's just one central link where you guys can find me at.
And I gotta say, Pengame, thank you so much in advance for taking the time out of your busy evening and coming on 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM right here in Canada, man. It was an absolute honor and most definitely a privilege, man. And I hope down the line we can make this happen again sometime soon.
Yeah, man, and definitely my wife, Danya, everyone in Africa, Tunisia, my daughter, Serena, and you are welcome, brother. Thank you for having me, man. Enjoy this. It's not the last of us. How you doing?
Most definitely, Pengame. You are most certainly welcome. The pleasure's all mine, man. And anything you need, don't hesitate to reach out. We're connected. Thank you so much again.
Yes, sir.